So thank you everybody for joining me for these very Halloween themed episodes of, well, my videos. It's probably not going to be a regular thing unless I can get more related items and not review them before Halloween, so who knows? There's an entire year ahead of us, so the potential's out there, I suppose. So yeah, thank you once again, and remember, check out Moonbase podcast if you're at all interested. Catch you next time, people, and have a safe and happy Halloween. Yeah, and get some hella candy if you're American, or if you're in the UK, stay indoors and buy your windows, because, you know, it's what we do here. Catch you later, peeps. Peep out. Halloween. So here we are with the final Monster Fighter set that I own personally, the Mummy set. It's the second cheapest out of all of the Monster Fighter sets. I bought it for like £8.99, so yeah, it's certainly a small set. But let's get straight into the minifig, shall we? And the first minifigure here, of course, is the Mummy, with this really cool scimitar blade thingy, very Egyptian styled. Got a cool curved blade, and something quite interesting is it does have a clip at the bottom to fiddle around with there. The head is really, really nice again on this. It's pretty cool. I do really like all the bandages on. Unfortunately, there's nothing on the back there, which is a bit of a pain. All of this front section, and I think his pants as well, glow in the dark, but it's not great. But the actual detail is pretty cool. One thing to note is obviously the legs move, so it does go a little bit out of line. That's how you line it up if you want. And he does have some cool on the back there, but not on his legs, obviously. So it's quite a nice little minifig, especially in the fact that he glows in the dark. So next up here we have Ann Lee, the only female monster fighter, I think, with her crossbow. And we have some bolts here for it, or arrows, and one goes in her hair, because that's how you store your ammo, you put it in your hair. And something to note, at least I think is worth noting, is back in day, our crossbows didn't have the bolt molded into the top, so I think that's quite nice that that's a new little thing they've done. But let's see what else goes in her hair, because you can pull this bit out and put some other stuff in, because it is just kind of like this little clip. So let's see. Oh yeah, here's the sword from the Mummy, and that can slot into her hair. And yeah, you can have a sword in her hair if you choose to, but we'll take it out for the moment. Yeah, it's cool, but a bit silly without anything there. The hair is rubbery, but nicely designed. See, it squeezes, so it has that weird texture to it on your fingers. Here's her other face, her smirking face, or happy face, I suppose, with a scar on. Then she's got her angry face. You know, she looks pretty cool. Nice top here, and on the bottom we've got some garlic and some steaks, or maybe more bolts and a little corset there, which is cool. And I like how it's carried around to the back, as always. Overall, a nice looking chick, I would say, for a Lego chick, as we put the bolt back in her hair, because she needs it to not look silly. So these two look quite good together, but I do think another Monster Fighter would have looked better with the Mummy. That's right, I think Quentin Steele would have been a much better matchup for the Mummy, because he looks like the classic explorer from the old movies, but what are you going to do, I suppose? And we do have the last minifigure, which I class as a minifigure, the dead horse, skeleton horse if you would. And he's got really nice design to him, with this nice fire coming out of his eyes, which is pretty badass. So he's got lots of things you can peg and port onto him. For instance, there's the nook at the top of his head, so you could give him horns, and there's all these little holes on the side of him as well, so you could jam stuff into as well, and in the mouth as well. So let's get one of the extra bolts, and yeah, you can even shove that in his mouth if you want him to be a bit jaunty and be like, "Wait, look at my bolt in my mouth, waha." So that's pretty cool. A nice bit of customizability if you've got the pieces, of course. He does glow in the dark though, and he doesn't move, and you can shove a dude into him to sit. And it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look as good as a normal horse, but, you know, you can gallop along and have a grand old time. But speaking of some glowing in the dark, let's have a look at some of that now. So yeah, here's it glowing in the dark. Here's my hand. I put this guy right up to a light bulb, so you can see that that's not glowing, but oh man, this is glowing. And of course, this is using a camera, so it's not the best way to show glowing in the dark, but it looks so badass. Because this horse really absorbs light well. It's crazy. But that horse does attach to a chariot, so let's have a look at the mummy's chariot. And it's not too bad, really. It does roll, but obviously you have to pick up the horse, otherwise it's not going to roll too well. It does have these spears on the end, or the side, I should say, which you can shove into the horse's mouth, again, as I showed earlier. So you can look like he's smoking a big staff, I guess, or a pike, which would be weird. I mean, these are quite nice because it gives a little bit of weaponry to the horse. So if we get Anne here, you know, the horse just ram her down and maybe impale her with something cool like that. It's pretty neat. The back here, what we can do is we can get the mummy's sword or scimitar, whatever you want to call it, and you can just slot it in here. Whoops, if I can hold it and peg it in. There we go. Just like that. So he doesn't have to hold his sword all the time. It can be stored. Which is kind of neat. I do like these lanterns, I think they are, and the bull horns there, which are cool. And we do have the scorpion holding the moonstone here, the mummy's moonstone, with this nice Egyptian sign, which I think is Ra, but I'm not entirely sure. It's a lot more purple than you would imagine, and the scorpion's nice. And the handle here can be held by the mummy, if I can adjust the camera and make it all happen just like that. Yeah, so he can hold the scorpion by the tail and hold his moonstone, which is quite fun. I like that. It's a nice little simple gimmick that you can do. And yeah, if you want, you can even have the scorpion being held there. Didn't make any sense because he has a nice little spot here on the back of the horse, so that's where it should go, really, if you ask my professional Lego opinion, of course. And the mummy looks pretty cool riding it. I mean, look at that. Doesn't that look like a nice set? Because I think it does. We do have another vehicle, of course, and it's Anne Lee's helicopter here, which is very small and simple, but it's all right for what it is. Yeah, it's got these two levers to, I guess, help it, and the propeller spins nicely. Anne Lee, unfortunately, can't store her crossbow or extra bolt anywhere on this thing, which is kind of a shame. Kind of wish there was somewhere to holster it, because obviously she needs her hands to control this thing as we sit down. This very exposed area. I mean, look at this. You could kill her so easily. I suppose what you could do is you could get the crossbow here and finagle it if I can get it in there. Yeah, come on. Why are you fighting against me, Lego? There we go. There, so it's got a weapon on, I suppose. But yeah, it's very exposed. An arrow to the face, and she'd die horribly. But there you go, I guess. We can also show the gimmick here with this clip. What we do is the Anne Lee would fly by and grab the scorpion by the tail here and be like, "Wait, I've got your moonstone, mummy, F you, wah!" And the mummy would be like, "Oh no, give me back my scorpion." Again, real simple feature, but not a bad one, just to give a bit of playability to the set. I mean, she's here to steal a moonstone, not kill a mummy, you know what I'm saying, guys? So unfortunately, guys, that's it. That's all I can really say about these guys. They're a small, simple set. I like the mummy. I really like the horse because that's so good at glowing in the dark. It's crazy. Anne Lee's kind of okay. Anne Lee's vehicle's kind of meh. But the chariot is pretty badass, I think. I think it's got a really cool look to it. It's a cheap set, so please keep that in mind. I'm sure give it a couple of months, even after Christmas, and maybe it'll have dropped in price even more. It's worth the price it is at the moment, I would say. It won't take you long to build, but it's fun. So that's it, guys, I'm afraid. Thank you for watching these set of Halloween-y type reviews, and please remember to have a safe and happy Halloween this year, and I will catch you next time for something non-Lego related for a change, which might be nice.